Working with pipeline. In this lesson, what is a pipeline, how to write data to a file, how to view data in grid view, how pipeline works, where getMember should be used. The full power of PowerShell is visible first when the commands are connected with each other in a pipeline. A single command like getService can send the results to the next command, for example outFile. OutFile will save those results in a text file. Let's display the content of such a file. Having content in a file is practical if you would like to use that data later in the future. But if you want to have a look at the data now, then probably you should use another CMLet called outGridView. After the get service has been executed, the results will be sent to outGridView. This will cause a graphical viewer to be started where the results can be presented. Here you can define your own filters, sort the data, search, and so on. Let's analyze now how technically the data is passed between commands in the pipeline. A long time ago in the Linux or DOS scripts, if the second command should take data from the previous one, then it needed to parse data returned by the first command. This resulted in hard text parsing, so that the next command could start with analyzing that text. In the PowerShell, the text visible on screen is only a text representation of an object that is hidden behind the chain. If you don't believe that the script is working on objects, then look at this. There is a special command named getMember. The main task of command is to answer question what an object we are currently working with, which parameters and method this object has. It is enough to take a command and its result to send to getMember. It is enough that a command just sends the results to getMember. Take a closer look into the results of this CMLet. First, it is shown what the object name is. Here we are working with the system, service process, service controller. Knowing that object, you can start search on it on programmers' websites like MSDN. We have here, for example, some aliases. Alias is just a short name for another property. For example, instead of typing service name, you can write name. Objects usually have a lot of properties and methods. Those properties contain some information that can be logical, like true-false property of canStop, telling us if the service can be stopped. The property can also have type of string, as for example the machine name. This particular property will allow to check on which computer the service is running. There are also more complicated properties, like services dependent on. That collection stores all those services that need to be started before the current service can be started. This property is a set of objects of type service process, service controller that we are currently talking about. There are also some methods available in that type. For example, stop or start. Using those methods, you can start or stop this service. I know that administrators generally don't like the language of developers like object, method or property, but PowerShell is a programming language, so we need to be familiar a little bit with that terminology. Remember, getMember is one of our biggest friends because it tells us what can be done with the object returned by a CMLet in the next step. getMember has an alias, just GM. Be warned that a command preceding the getMember will be indeed executed. Next, the result of this command is sent to getMember, which displays information regarding the type of passed data. This is quite different than it was with the what-if parameter, which answers question what would be done if I indeed would start the command. Here the first command will be indeed run. Some commands return results of more than one type. Some of them can return a mix of objects of different types. Look at getChildItem started in the folder scripts. The folder contains two subfolders named ps01 and ps02 and one file named services.txt. To make sure that the command returns objects of different type for files and for folders, we pipe the result to getMember. getMember prints info about type system IO file info and about system IO directory info. As you see, the output of single CMLet can contain elements of different types. Those types can differ in amount of properties or methods. Your scripts having those properties need to continue their tasks. Note one of properties specific to files and directories named isPsContainer. This property allows to distinguish files and directories. For files, the value of that property is $false, and for folders is $true.